Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here is your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience, episode number 44.
Thank you for joining us for Black Entrepreneur Experience. This is where we shine the light on the most successful Black entrepreneurs in the world. And I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards. And today I am honored to have Dontae Muse, owner of Above Art Studios, located in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Thank you, Dontae, for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. And I've given our audience a very brief bio about you and your company. Why don't you fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you would like them to know about you and your company?
All right. We haven't been in business relatively long. We're actually only in our 7th month, going on to our 8th month. It might have seemed like we've been around a little longer because we've been progressing rapidly by creating action, and that's causing more action to come to us. So we are growing fast. So we're excited about that. Me personally, even though I have an art gallery now, I do not have a visual art background. I am an artist. I deal in music and instruments and engineering. The visual art aspect, we kind of just fell into dealing with another artist doing custom work for us for apparel and wardrobe for the music. So everything kind of just came together like it was meant to be.
So how did you decide that this was the business for you? And what was that aha moment? I know you had indicated that you had kind of fell into this based on music. Take our audience down the path. How did that actually work for you?
All right. So been behind the scenes for a little bit in the music, mostly underground. I have worked with a couple of artists that have made it. We were doing a project, a couple of songs with an artist that was previously working with Fetty Wap, who's a known artist. And in the process of going to shoot the video for some music that we made, I needed to get some custom sneakers done. And my brother, who happens to function as my stylist as well, had got some custom sneakers made from a childhood friend of ours who was an artist. So I went to go see him. At the time that I visited him, myself and my partner, Will, who owns the studio with me, we were looking to open a larger recording studio and that us have an event space because we had just started getting back into throwing events, music events. So in the process of looking for that space and visiting my friend who's an artist, he said he was looking to open his own art gallery. So I thought it would be a great idea since we've known each other about 30 years, we all get together and we can make it happen together. We've known each other since we were kids. So during the process, when I already started negotiating things and had to find the space and everything, the artist decided he wanted to go a different route and do something, a little different than where we were heading, which is fine. He actually is 3 blocks away from us now. He opened up about 3 or 4 months after we opened. But at that time, me being, who I am and a man of my word, I had already shook hands and, signed papers and said I was doing it. So I was going to go ahead and do it anyway. Now I had to step up and function differently in my roles in the art gallery versus before where, I was just going to do my marketing and promotions expertise that I do. But I had to learn how to curate. I had to learn how to exhibit. I had to do a crash course pretty much in everything. So in order to do that, I went anywhere I could. I even drove down I coupled it with a nice little family trip, but I even drove down to North Carolina to see a pretty known artist. She's emerging, but she has a nice buzz. She opened her art gallery. I went to go see how that was so I can get ideas. And I did a lot of traveling and popped up a lot of places and introduced myself to people and put things together. And if everybody knew the backstory, it is definitely surprising. On the surface, it looks, well put together and calm, but it's definitely a lot of learning as I'm going along. And I'm a student, so I study, I teach myself, and I find mentors and learn from them.
So what's one valuable lesson, Dontae, you wish you knew before starting your business?
Well, now in hindsight, even though I did good on actually negotiating the lease, which a lot of people for some reason don't even do that. Not sure if they realize that they can, but I did good on that. I really would have gotten a lawyer. So once I got that to where I thought I was needed it at, had a lawyer look over it again to get a couple of little small things in there. I would have made sure they put a little extra work into it before I got in the spot. We had to do a lot of things and, tripped over our feet a couple times and learned hindsight. I had to pay a couple of extra things that I probably could have got thrown in there, a couple of licenses or things of that nature that I could have got taken care of. That doing it again when we get ready to open our next location, I'll definitely go in with the knowledge of that and try to get everything I can.
So what would you say is a daily or weekly habit that you do consistently that has given you the greatest success?
Our greatest success, and I alluded to it earlier, really has come from creating action. So I stumbled across that as well. My life kind of just happens to work out like that. But I started throwing parties when I was 11 years old. Started doing it from my 5th grade graduation party. Invited everybody from the school, charged them to get in. We had literally just moved a couple of months before that out of our projects, which we down the street from, but into a house, had a huge basement, and my parents allowed me to have a party there. And I made a few $100s. Still don't know how that happened, but at 11, that kind of opened my eyes and showed me that I can put things together and create something out of nothing. So I used the event planning aspect of my experience. And when we first got in, instead of sitting there waiting for people to discover us, happen to stumble in our place, we put on our own events. So once we got people to the building from whatever attractions we were using to get them to the building, now they can see our artwork in there. Now we can add them to our mailing list. Now we can really start growing. But they wouldn't have came if we wouldn't have did anything. So poetry is one of my first talents I discovered. We had a poetry slam. We've had our listening room event, which was the music event, the tastemaker event that we were looking to get the event space for initially. We've done tattoo exhibits. We did a body painting exhibition for my birthday in February. We pretty much create action. So with us having to bring in talent from different areas for our shows, the talent starts advertising that they're going to perform here, and then the word starts spreading that this place exists, and then everything that this place does is, successful. They have great events. So what I do every week that I would say is figure out a way to keep it going. Look at the calendar, try to book dates that I can get in there outside of, we rent the space as well. So outside of people renting the space, trying to fill in the calendar and just keep us pumping, keep us on the map and relevant.
So who would you say, Dontae, are your top 2 influencers in your life, and what lessons did they teach you?
It always depends at different points in my life. But definitely my parents. I was blessed to be able to have both of my parents my whole life. They're still together now. I don't even know any of my friends that, except one, actually. I do have one friend that has the same thing. All the rest are, single parent households at some point in time. So I would definitely have to say my parents. They keep me grounded. They've taught me the value of the dollar, taught me to respect people, taught me what to pass down and what to change generationally, because everybody has their issues. But I would definitely say my parents were still are the most influential. Even now, like, I can't do most things without them. I have 2 young children, and when I need to be at an event, I might need my mother to stay with them, or my parents are still very influential in my life. I still come to them for advice. They still give me the advice even when it's unsolicited. Their parents. So they're my biggest influences, I would say. Outside of them, I have a mentor who actually grew up and used to paint with Basquiat. His name is Jerry Gant. He's been my mentor in this art world, and I also listen to like Les Brown and Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn, the motivational speakers as well. Try to keep my mind right.
So, are your parents entrepreneurs, or do you have entrepreneurs in your family?
My parents are not. My aunt, one of my mother's sisters, she has 5 of them. But one of her sisters owned a hair salon when I was young. Well, ever since I can remember, probably up until I was about 19, 20, when it was in Newark, which is a little wild. Somebody ran a stolen car into the window. But up until there, she had her own business. And that was pretty much it, I could think, in terms of entrepreneurs in my family. Yeah, I wouldn't say it ran in my family or I was influenced anything about that. My parents were more of the get something stable, something safe. So my brother's a firefighter and my father is a police captain. So, they both civil service workers, and, my father was definitely not forcing me, but, trying to tell me that would be a good way to go, good pay, benefits, hard to get fired, things like that. He's definitely more of the slow, steady, safe road, but, it'll get you there. Yeah, I'm the opposite.
So, Dontae, talk to a younger you. What advice would you give to a younger Dontae?
A younger me, avoid bad debt. I had to go through that and get everything cleaned up, and it took a little while, but definitely only spend money on things that can make you money back is one I would say. I could avoid a lot of time having to recoup and climb out the hole. So that's definitely something I would tell my younger self. And just overall better money management. I think because I've always found a way to make it, that most of my life I took it for granted, because like I said, I could just write an idea down on a piece of paper and put a date on it, and I can turn it into capital. So I never worried about holding on to it, but I've been, thus researching, learning, and I've learned the JAR system, the money management system that the Jewish people teach all their children, and I've recently taught it to mine, and I'm doing the same thing. So I would have taught myself that a lot earlier.
And so when you talk about financing, and one of the questions a lot of entrepreneurs would like to know is, how did you finance your business? Did you bootstrap the business? Did you use a 9-to-5 to invest in the business? Did you have family and friends? Or did you GoFundMe or do crowdfunding for your business?
No, I did. Well, I didn't have any type of donations or anything. It definitely came out of me and my partner's pocket. We bootstrapped, we saved, we definitely used the power of broke, credit to Damon John, but we've been using that for a long time before the book even came out. Just knowing people, a lot of times, if you know the person and you know what it is that they need, you can figure out a way to get it for them. And you might not necessarily have to spend money. You can actually just play a middleman and link them up with somebody else who can get them what they need. And then in return, they can give you what you need. And then maybe that third party, you can work something out with them later. It's a barter system, a favor for a favor. So it's really networking. I told you I went to a lot of galleries when we were getting ready to open. I went to a lot of networking events as well. I started going to a bunch of brunches, young professionals and everything at brunches, really meeting people. As soon as we got in the doors, I started sending out emails to, their cold contacts, basically. So I can find somebody that I might aspire to, or somebody, a gallery might be in a position, or maybe a certain blogger I'm trying to get the attention of. instead of just going directly for that person, I might see, and it's easy now with social media, I can go to their list and see who they're following and figure out why they're following those people and maybe get on one of those people's radar. Because if I get one of those people to post something of mine, they're going to see it anyway because they're following those people. Now, these people are renowned. They might have 10,000, followers themselves, but they're only following 300 people. I can't go through 10,000, but I can go through 300 and see, who I can get, or if I can get on one of those person's radar. Next thing I know, I'm getting email because, they heard about me or whatever. So, being cunning and crafty is more than one way to skin a cat. But we figure out how to get it done really with the power of broker. It's been a lot of times actually, and let me know if I'm being talkative, but there's been a lot of times where we've had it, so we've thrown money at things and we didn't even get the results we wanted. It's like we spent the money and we still have to do all these revisions, or it's still not exactly how we want. So now we just got to take it because it's like, all right, we spent money on, we're going to use it. And we actually have been a lot more successful figuring out how we can get it done using the least amount of money, least amount of resources, because it's never about a lack of resources. It's about a lack of resourcefulness. So we use our resourcefulness and we usually get things done.
So the city, New Jersey, that you launched your business, was that the best city for you in reference to you being successful, or would you have launched in a different city setting up your art gallery?
All right. That is a good question because we were originally going to open up in a larger city. I'm from Elizabeth, born and raised. I lived in Newark for a while. Elizabeth is the fourth largest city. Newark is the largest city. So in all, my people, for the most part, are right here. And they're connected to each other. So everybody is all packed. So had I thought about it, and I originally was going to open up closer to my residence, but the young man that we were going to do the project with lived in the city that we currently have the gallery in. And he explained a couple things to us in terms of they're trying to make New Brunswick, which is the city, one of the hubs of art, if not in the country, at least in the state. So they have certain laws that you can actually paint on the sidewalk. So, if you have artists out there doing that, then people see them and, that'll help draw people inside the business. There's a couple of laws and ordinances that were in our favor for what we were trying to do. I was going to go with Newark just because the volume of people, but I don't think it would have gave us the prestige that we have now. Like it's more, it would have been downtown. It's still, if it wasn't in Newark, it would have been hood, just period. I don't care how nice the spot would have looked or whatever we would have did. It definitely would have just been more hood, period. New Brunswick, downtown, the whole area is gentrified now. Like I could count probably a number of black businesses in the area when it used to be the opposite, 10, 20 years ago. But it seems like how things worked out, that's what we're supposed to be. Now I still have the opportunity to go back to Newark at any time. There's a bunch of space. Newark is actually number 9 in the whole country right now in terms of a place to visit for art. They've been throwing tons of money at it, into the arts projects. They've been giving out grants for even exhibitions, and I've been getting plugged in. And like I said, my mentor, Jerry Gant is from Newark. So he's tied in with everybody, and everybody, loves him. Like I said, he's somebody, if you know what's going on in the underground art world. So I can do that at any time. Now, had I did it in Newark first, would I go to New Brunswick? I don't know. But I know at any time when I jump back to Newark, just because of, and it sounds crazy, but the crime rate is actually so high that they're not worried about small things. I don't have to worry about like my neighbors worried about me turning the music too high if we have like a jazz night or anything like that. If you're not running a trap house, a drug house, or killing anybody in Newark, they got other things to worry about. They're going to let you do what you do. And people just easier going. So I can always do that whenever, and then I can actually have concerts because my space is even bigger, and go more into the music. Where now we're more into the art, so I can tie that back in at any time, and that's the plan as well. So things worked out how I believe they were supposed to work out. So I explained all that just to say that.
So what would you say is your biggest challenge of being an entrepreneur?
Biggest challenge. Balance. I would say balancing your personal life and business life, because it's a lifestyle, but you don't want to impose it on. You don't want to have it be your whole family's lifestyle. But you are at least thinking about the business when you're not there, if you're not happen to be working. So I forgot the question. What was the question?
So I asked you what was your biggest challenge, and you said balancing family life. Yes. So how do you balance family life, business, and because you indicated you have 2 children, so how do you balance that?
I'm still trying to figure it out. Honestly, still trying to figure it out. I'm not the best with scheduling. So as soon as I get to the point where I can have a personal assistant or something, then I would think I would be great. Somebody to call me, hey, this is in 15 minutes, or you got to be here, or things like that, just to remind me. Then I'll be awesome at that point in time. Just organization is really the biggest thing, and that's one of my weaknesses. Everybody has strengths and weaknesses, but scheduling and staying on top of things like that is not my strength at all. I just create and go and kind of just keep going. So if I can have somebody, or if any entrepreneurs are very detail oriented and very organized, I think that'll be a lot easier for them. The balance with me is not the easiest thing to do, and I'm spontaneous. So if I decide to change my mind or do this, or if something comes up and I jump into that, it could definitely knock a bunch of other things off. So it's not the easiest for me for the balance.
So let's kind of switch gears and let's talk about risk. So what is the worst thing that has happened to you so far in business? And what was that takeaway?
The worst thing so far, I would have to say we had a little issue with we only have one neighbor, so it's kind of crazy, but we have a comic book store right next to us, and we do share a wall. On the other side of us is just a parking garage, so there's nobody over there. But the comic book store has called the police. They had called the property management. They made a bunch of phone calls and talking about we were too loud and things of that nature. But every time, it's really like they were building the case, because the few times the cops did come, they trying to figure out why they were there. But if you call the cops and say the aliens on the roof, they got to come. It's part of their job. So they called the property management one day. Gentleman came over. He walked in, expressed what the neighbor's complaint was. I said, let's walk over there. We walked over there. We literally heard not even a whisper coming through the wall. So that gave me ammunition right there to put up that they were harassing us. And they happen to be white, and I didn't want to put that all into it. And I know that's why they were calling them anyway. But in hindsight, I would have started building a case a lot sooner, because before that incident happened, like, we got a letter with a bunch of different complaints on it, and it stated that we were open late, but they were open at 2 or 3 in the morning, which I also have documented. So I would have just done a little of that sooner. We initially moved there. We had plans on actually working with them. We were, comic book store here, great. We could do some kids events and to collaborate. But that soon died as soon as we met the other business partners, a little mean lady. And that actually changed the gentleman's attitude and everything. And we had problems up into that incident where obviously nothing was happening, and they didn't even have any customers, but she was complaining about the music. Help me build the case that they just call anytime they see a bunch of black people. So in hindsight, I would have tried to prepare for that a little better going into it.
So what, if anything, would make you stop?
I mean, if I'm not even sure, because if they figure out some way to take the building, I'll just come back closer to home and do it again, especially now that I know I can do it and make even fewer mistakes than I did the first time. I don't know what really would stop me.
And so, Dontae, you talked earlier about a little bit about social media. Is there a technology tool or a technology platform that is a must-have for you in managing your business day to day?
Yes, we use an email management system. We use ConstantContact to help us keep in contact, and so when we can send out an email, when one person replies, it doesn't go to everybody email box again. So using that email system has been pretty effective for us. Other than that, we have our largest presence on Instagram. Instagram has definitely been our biggest tool in terms of people interacting with us and finding us, just stumbling across us randomly. It's also great because when we have the events and we post them, you can use the location so people can click that and see exactly where you are in proximity to their house. You can pull the map right up so you can see how much time it's going to take to get there. Phone number, everything comes up, and you can post something on there and it can link to your other social media sites as well too. So I'll just straight post on Instagram and it'll also go on Facebook. It'll go on Twitter right from that one post. So, and that's, I think, still the number one because Instagram uses all the stuff that Snap does now as well. So that's still number one in the social media. We have not as big a presence as I would like, but we have our biggest presence on Instagram.
So what is your goals for the future with your brand or your business?
I really want to be able to give more opportunities. Opening the gallery made me realize that I guess in any type of arts, particularly because they've been cutting programs in schools and in the cities, that people don't have as many opportunities as they had to showcase their talent or to let anybody know that they do what they do. So the buyers or the collectors or anybody who is interested doesn't know where to find what they need, and anybody who has what they need doesn't know where to find the people who are interested. So being that gateway is really what we want to do. We've got a bunch of artists who had stopped painting. They got discouraged or they got caught up in a regular job or career and let their passions go, and we've gotten them to come back into it. So some of their works really have them, considering how to find a way to make a transition to do what they love to do instead of what they have to do. Doing what you love to do that's not work. That's happiness. That's bliss, and time just fly because you enjoy doing it. You can't wait to get up and go do it again because you're having a ball. So I want to be able to provide that to as many people as possible. Did I answer your question?
So tell me this. What are the Black entrepreneurs that have inspired you to keep going?
Well, I mentioned two of them earlier, Les Brown and Damon John. Those are two that I follow and I listen to them when they speak, and I pick up a lot of gems from those two gentlemen. I would have to say Sean Combs, Puffy, Diddy, whatever you want to call him. He's insatiable. He just keeps going. After he knocks one thing out, he's focused on the next and trying to figure out a way to make that happen. And he pretty much doesn't take no for an answer. It's going to happen one way, shape, or form. So I would say him as well. Russell Simmons, having been in a bunch of different industries, having seen, failures and slow startups. I know Fat Farm lost money for a while before it blew up and started making the substantial amounts it started making. Learned a lot from his stories. That's all I could think of right now.
So let me ask you this, Dontae. If you had to do it all over again, would you do the same business, the art studios, and the same industry? And if yes, why?
Yes, I would. I would do it slightly different. I definitely would have tried to have a printer right away so I can make reprints versus just trying to sell originals, because originals are definitely more pricey and not everybody can afford them. Art is a luxury. So I would definitely do art again. I would just do it slightly different. And music is art anyway. So like, it's just all encompassing. Like, our motto of Above Art Studios is art and all the above. It's just all encompassing art. So whatever type of art form it is, performance, whatever type of art form it is, we try to have our hands into it. The visual art ties everything together and keeps it consistent, and it gives you a good feel when you walk into the place, and it kind of puts people guard down. Like, if it would have been just music, it would have brought a different element to our space. Now, even when we do the music events and you come in there, you're in an art gallery, automatically behavior is going to be a certain way. You're not going to react the same. You have, this $1,000 painting on the wall, the vibe is completely different. So I definitely would have did it. When I first got in there, because I was, the music guy, I was like, art is basically just our front. We got the art up here to make it look nice. And when the white people walk in, we be like, hey, cool, we do art, leave us alone, and we can do whatever else we need to do. But I've grown to love and appreciate it even more, and I would definitely do the same thing.
So tell our audience, you mentioned one book earlier, but I don't know if this is the book that you're going to say, but I just want to acknowledge that you did talk about The Art of Broke, or The Power of Broke. Yeah. Uh-huh. So what book would you recommend and why? And so I didn't know if that was the same book or you had another book that you would recommend.
I could recommend a few. I would definitely recommend The Power of Broke. I would recommend, I'm actually reading another one called The Power of Now. I think that's Eckhart Reinhardt. Napoleon Hill, of course. I would actually even go back to a little less watered down versions, like Think and Grow Rich is watered down. I would go back to The Secrets of Success in 16 Steps. If you can get the original one that Henry Ford shut down because he didn't want everybody to become rich, then, try to grab that one. But if not, then the one that actually got put out is still good. It's better than Think and Grow Rich. Is The Secrets of Success in 16 Steps. What other books off the top of my head? I don't know. That's all I can think of right now. My mind went blank. I actually read so much. I'm like, it's like, I don't know why more books not come to my head, but I read a lot. That's
great. So tell me this, how did you come about naming your business?
All right. That again, like everything with the business, kind of just unfolded. I would take one step and the next two or three would just roll out for me, which showed me the signs that I was supposed to continue to go on. I thought it was going to be a lot harder than it was, but it just kept unfolding. So I just kept going. When we were collaborating with the third business partner, we were going to name the gallery Crazy Creative Studios. And that was because at the time he was going by the artist name Crazy Creative. So I'm figuring, he's going to be dealing with all the artists, doing all the art portion. I'm going to be dealing with the music and the business, mostly the business. My partner, Will, is, the music guy, or, even more so than me. So I like the play on words, the double C's, the Crazy Creative. So once he said he wasn't going to be in it, I went to my partner and said, we're going to get a new name because I just want a clean separation. I just don't want anybody mentioning anything later down the line. We took anything anywhere. We're creative enough to come up with our own stuff. So I wanted to go with the same play on words to have the letter in the first and the end of it. And we were just playing with names and we came up with Above Art. So it went from Crazy Creative to Above Art.
So let me ask you this, Dontae. If you conducted this interview, what is the one question that you would have asked yourself? And I want you to ask and answer that question.
I think I would have asked maybe what other businesses I think I would have been good at. And the answer to that, I would say, well, now I would say event planning. Like, I didn't really even realize I had that skill per se, even though, like I said, I've been doing it since adolescence. It kind of just was, I didn't have a title to it. I just did it. Putting a title on a lot of things, I get slightly claustrophobic and it makes me react a little different. I kind of just like just doing, just because I enjoy doing it and I do it even more passionately when it's that way. But I think now I'm really seeing how everything that I've learned, all my different skill sets and all my natural talents have been coming together. They all melting wonderfully in this, and they all have to do with talking to people and setting things up, making it happen. So that's the exact same thing I would be doing in an event planning, pretty much just talking to people all day and orchestrating. So I think I would be a successful event planner. And in that instance, is one date and I set everything up for that date and then I'm good. I can go. I wouldn't have things in the meantime, like I have with running this business that I would have to keep more organized. So I probably wouldn't need a personal assistant if I was just doing event planning. But yeah, I think that would be my answer.
So share with our audience a parting piece of advice you want to offer.
Parting piece of advice, I would say try to help people. Do everything you can to figure out what you can do for someone else. Particularly if you happen to need them for something, approach them with the mindset of helping them will help you. We're doing a paint and eat for the homeless tomorrow night. And us doing that event, us just trying to give back, has brought a positive light, on our business. We were able to get good feedback from press releases that we sent out, and having an event gave us something newsworthy to send out. And that's just trying to help people. But from there, we've gotten plugged in with 2 nonprofits that want to make it a regular thing, and we can get tied into and be financed by and start actually getting grants, from the city, because we're now working with the nonprofits. And all it stemmed from was us trying to help. Every instant what we do, we try to help an individual or, an entity, a group of people. It comes back and it furthers us. So coming to somebody with your hand out, asking for something, that's what everybody does. That's just nothing new about that. So they can get the hand smacked away, or they get the back turned towards them. You only coming to me because you need something from me. Now, if you come to me because you're trying to figure out how you can help me, or even if you're just trying to help me because you're trying to learn, it's still going to help me, which a lot more people allow. Almost everybody can use help in some aspect of their life, even if it be, dating or something. You might be able to, give them a couple of jokes or whatever the case may be. It's something you can do to help somebody. So approach everyone with that in mind, and one way or another, they'll help you or you help yourself. That would be my parting advice.
So does your business have a social cause tied to it now or in your mission statement?
No, we do not. But because of who, me and my partner are, is just always, it's us. So it's just kind of always going to happen, whether we publicize it or not, whether we, we've almost at all our events, we have leftover food. We go out and we feed the homeless. Like, we just don't make, an event of it or a deal of it. We've done fundraising. Like, it's in us. We're focusing not on that. That's just kind of a byproduct. We're trying to get the arts community. We're trying to get happiness, back into the world. Just period. Like, with, what they say, the earth without art is just it's just EH. You just took out the ART. Like, it's nothing. It's not the same. Like, art has been there since, cave writing on the walls. Like, art, beauty is, you look outside, how the clouds blend together. Like, that's art. Like, if you take that out, then we live in a dismal place. So that's our goal, is to bring beauty into the world, one way, shape, or form. And because we are who we are, we're going to be social. We're going to try to be the change that we want to see. We don't sit around and talk about it all day. It doesn't create any actual change. At the end of the conversation, the situation is still the same. And we are very much about that action. We make something happen. Specifically, we say we're going to do it, we do it. My undergraduate degree happens to be in sociology. And that just happened. Like, I was just taking a bunch of courses, we were having great conversations, and same thing like with this. It just naturally unfolded and I fell into it. Just, fit right in. So we're gonna do that. I don't want to have us really identified like that, or like, philanthropists, or anything that's put light on us just doing what makes us feel good. So I would say we're doing it because we're selfish. We're doing it for us because it makes us feel good. So don't highlight us for doing it. It's for us.
So, Dontae, we've come to the part of our interview where it's called the Fun Facts Lightning Round. And I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'd like you to answer very quickly the questions. And if it's something that you feel that you don't want to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the Fun Facts Lightning Round?
I'm ready.
Okay. Dontae, the last movie you saw?
The new Apes. What was that? War of the Apes or something?
You relaxed doing what?
Reading mostly, or watching movies. I like stories.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
I would say is a three-way tie. I would have to say for my favorite singer. It would either be Eddie Ruffin, Gerald Levert, or Maxwell.
And your favorite dance song?
My favorite dance song is one I grew up on. Is a Jersey Club favorite. It's called The Percolator.
And what food you eat every week, no matter what?
Wow, there's a couple of them now. I'm vegan. I've been making sure I get my avocado in every week. Well, you know what? I could say it's solid because I eat it raw and I eat it in my food. I would say garlic. I get garlic every week, but I also get ginger and turmeric and, a bunch of other stuff. But I would say I get garlic definitely every week. It's going to be in somewhere.
And your favorite month?
Oh, that's February. That's my birth month. The 21st. Yeah, that was actually the day Malcolm X died.
Oh, good information there.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I picked up and just waiting.
So, Dontae, what is the best way for our audience to connect with you and support your business?
I would definitely say visit our website, which we actually going to be revamping pretty soon, which is Above Art Studios. That's studios plural at aboveartstudios.com, or email us aboveartstudios@gmail.com, and find us on Instagram at Above Art Studios. And you can DM us, and our email and phone number and address is on there as well in the profile.
Oh, Dontae, thank you so much from Black Entrepreneur Experience, spending time with us. We know that you're extremely busy with the family, running the business, so we appreciate you. If you have anything that you'd like us to push out or support, don't hesitate to let us know.
No problem. Thank you very much, Dr. Richards. I appreciate you having us on.
Thank you. That's a wrap.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.